Okay. Is that better? Okay, thank you. All right. So we've waited a few minutes for the other commissioners, and they're not present, so we're going to go ahead and call to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and move on to 2. We're going to do roll call, please.
Chairperson Lujan,
Here.
Mr. Potter is absent. Commissioner Spencer,
Here.
Commissioner Wendell. Here. And Mr. Pitchley is either delayed or absent. We have a quorum, just for the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and move to number 3, adoption of the agenda. Need a first and a second.
I move to adopt the agenda.
I second.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, seeing none. We're going to go ahead and move forward to number 4, public comment. This is for non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the Recreation Commission on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The Commission Chair reserves the right to limit the speaker's time to 3 minutes. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. And do we have any members of the audience that would like to come forward for public comment at this time? Okay. And seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close public comment. 4.2, do we have any written communication for public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and close number 4 entirely. And we will move forward to number 5. We have multiple topics to go over. We're going to start with 5.1, appreciation of Isaac Rubalcava. I'm not saying that right. I apologize. Sorry. For 2020 to 2024.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Isaac served as a Recreation and Parks Commissioner from 2020 to 2024 as we transitioned in March of this year, 2025. During his tenure, Isaac was a vital member of the commission, playing a key role in developing the special events procedures. He generously volunteered at numerous events, including the 2024 holiday tree lighting on Main Street, and supported countless other recreational and parks programs. Isaac's passion for the community is truly inspiring and contagious. His dedication sets a powerful example, visibly influencing his children in a very positive way. Known for his candid and honest approach, Isaac exemplifies a highly valued leadership qualities that strengthens those around him. And we just want to express our appreciation and his willingness to volunteer and put out his extra effort. You will be missed on the commission, but you will not be missed in person because we will be pulling on your expertise and your passion for the community and making things better. So if you want to meet me at the podium, sir. We have a little you want to take one with everybody too, maybe? Sure. Yeah. You guys mind?
Yeah, no problem. We'll go ahead and step down here.
It'll kill some time for Andre. For some reason, he thought the meeting was at 6, so he's.
Oh, he's on his
No
way?
worries.
Okay. Yeah, brief recess. I take all responsibility.
Who's gonna be our tree guy now?
Yeah, he's still the tree guy. Okay, listen, he's not going
Oh, sorry, you're still gonna be the
Yeah,
tree
he's
guy.
not going nowhere.
I feel like I'm too tall.
Yeah, you need to be in the middle. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, you come down here.
Yeah, it was a funny one.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quick,
You were on for. Yeah, I think maybe a couple, yeah, I think it was
Okay, the term you can't, because you gave it half term, right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it wasn't full?
Yeah.
Say a few words here.
That was good. Yeah, please, if you'd like to share, please.
This thing on? All right.
Then that would be great, then this will be.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. In my time here, I got to experience three different, I got Terry, I got Steve, and we got Dennis, so it was a good transition. I appreciate working with you, Matt, as well. When I started my term here, it was a very big transition in my life completely. Like I moved, my whole entire life changed a lot, and it was good to be a part of the community, somewhere where I grew up, where I was born. Recently, circumstances have changed. I moved out of the city. I just didn't qualify anymore. I would have loved to stay on, but it just wasn't in the cards at this time. But that doesn't mean it's not in the future. Still looking to buy back in the city and get back in, and I appreciate everything everybody's done. For not just me, but for my children, for them to see what it means to be involved in the community and be a part of the community and actually take pride in where you live meant a lot to me. So I appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can reapply when you move back to city limits. There you go. Thank you so much. And also, thank you, Dennis, as well, for preparing that. Okay. Did you guys have any other comments or things you wanted to say to Isaac?
Thank you.
Good. About sums it up. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go ahead and close 5.1, and we're going to move to 5.2, appointment of new commissioners.
Mr. Pitchley is on his way. I guess there was some miscommunication on my part in regards to the start time. So if Madam Chair is okay, we can start with either 5.3 or 5.4. It's up to you guys. But it would be a modification of our current agenda. It's up to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, perfect. We'll wait for him to come up here. Oh, this way. Hello.
Oh, come on up this way.
Is there?
Oh,
is
no,
there-
no, you can't.
Yeah, I don't
right.
think. Oh, as it is? Okay, perfect.
I didn't realize there was an opening there.
I know, I was thinking it's over here.
Welcome.
All right, hello.
My apologies for being late. I guess I'm not on.
I've already taken responsibility for my miscommunication, so you're fine, Mr. Pitchley.
No worries.
Bye, Isaac.
Bye, thank you.
You guys,
Bye.
enjoy your St. Patty's Day.
So we've already confirmed Mr. Potter's not going to be here this evening, so.
That is correct.
All right, so we're good to continue with the 5.2 then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. And did you have any announcement for that, or did you
No,
want me
no,
to
I'll
read it
just,
as it's
I'll
written?
recap real quick. I was making notes.
Oh, no worries.
Apologize. You have a staff report tonight that was presented in regards to appointing new commissioners as welcome Mr. Peasley to our commission. Annually, we basically want to provide the commission an opportunity to pick new officers, vice chair and chair. Included in your packet is a general and basic overview in regards to kind of like their responsibilities and some of the basic stuff that those roles would particularly play. Everyone is essential, everyone is vital, and as stipulated in our articles, a very huge support to myself as the director in regards to recommendations. But that is basically what we're here to do tonight, is entertain in any opportunities for a new chair and a new vice chair. I do, however, although Mr. Potter is absent, I do have his letter to the board or to the commission, and I can actually read that now or later. It's up to you guys, but he did provide something in writing for me to read into the record. With that said, you have my staff report. I'm available for questions if you have any.
Yeah, if he has something written that pertains to this, to 5.2, yeah, now would be a good time.
Was that 5.3? Are we on 2 or 3?
2.
Oh, you know what? That's totally my fault. We're on 5.2. I apologize. I
Oh.
skipped ahead. I went to 5.3.
Oh, no worries.
Not realizing it, so I apologize. I'll back up. Appointing our new commissioners, Mr. Potter unfortunately is absent, and there are no real other comments in regards to appointment of our new commissioners. We welcome Mr. Pitchley and all of his experience and his passion. We did have 9 applicants who applied for the Recreation Commission. 2, unfortunately, prior to the interview, had withdrawn. And we had an amazing group of volunteers and passionate individuals who really wanted to sit on the commission. But we were very, very fortunate that Andre accepted it, and the city council had nominated him to be our 5th member. And Michael is obviously returning. I don't really have too much around it unless Mr. Peachley would like to share a little bit. I know I'm putting you on the spot a little. Sorry about that.
I guess it depends on what the questions are for me. Assuming that information about me was already shared.
Not in whole depth. We were moving pretty fast from the interview to here, so you can have your.
Okay, all right, happy to share. So I'm a resident now just over 3 years. And completely in love with this town. I've worked in a small town before. I worked in St. Helena, California, in the Napa Valley, and I fell in love with being on a main street like we have here. So wanted to be someplace close like that in a smaller town. I've got 33 years of experience working in Parks and Recreation. Started with the Auburn Recreation District just out of college. So then it was 6 years, City of West Sacramento for 20 years. I was a recreation supervisor. Matt and I both were supervisors at one point, and I became a middle manager there, recreation superintendent. Was involved in some really nice projects. We built a recreation center out there, a joint use facility project with the school district, and then we built a community center that had fine and performing arts, senior center component, a really cool project right there across from City Hall in West Sacramento. From there, I went to the city of Tracy. I was there for a year and a half. I tell people usually I did time in Tracy because it wasn't an enjoyable experience for me. But moved on to St. Helena, where I was there for 4.5 years. I made the decision to leave there. I loved the job, but I didn't like being away from home. We were living in Sacramento, and I would be staying in Napa during the week, coming home on weekends, and decided that I wanted to be closer to home. So I took the job as general manager for Cameron Park Community Services District. Decided because of just feeling some stress from working with, I shouldn't say this, but from working with that board, and then in addition to a couple of family matters involving, mom passing away, brother-in-law passing away, granddaughter being born, I just decided it was time to step away. So I feel like I made the right decision. Matt's been bugging me for 3 years now to consider being on the commission, and I felt like after over a year of being retired, that it was time to become a citizen volunteer and help out my community. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and welcome to Placerville officially, now that you've moved
Yeah.
to the area, so
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm over 20 years as a adjunct faculty for the Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Administration at Sac State. So hopefully that will continue. We'll see. Things are changing at the university and at Parks and Recreation programs throughout the United States. Seems to be changing, so we'll see how much longer that lasts. But yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
If I may say, I was at your interview and it was ace. It was awesome. So I'm so glad you're here.
I really didn't think I did that well, and I'm
that's
looking
great.
at all these other
Yeah.
guys going, why would they pick me? Honestly, I was thinking, I'm going to go home and I'll think about this next year. So.
No, that was awesome.
Thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and close 5.2, and it sounds like we'll move to 5.3 with a letter that needed to be read.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Thank you for that, and welcome, Andre. We're happy to have you. This letter is from Commissioner Potter in regards to the next item for chairperson and vice chair. Dear Madam Chair, Commissioners, Director of Community Services and Recreation Superintendent, due to my absence, I'm writing to cast my vote for chairperson and vice chair of the Placerville Recreation and Parks Commission. I take great pride in being a commissioner for a second term. This responsibility I'm honored to hold. It gives me with great pleasure to vote for these commissioners. I believe each has professional and volunteer backgrounds to steer our commission in a positive manner. I believe he indicates chairperson. After working alongside this commissioner and understanding the passion for volunteerism, I believe Commissioner Wendell will raise the bar as chairperson of Placerville Recreation and Parks Commission. In regards to vice chair, Mr. Potter comments, having the opportunity to learn from and speak with this commissioner, I trust this candidate has a complete understanding of recreation and parks, and he casts his vote for Commissioner Pitchley as vice chair. In his care, Michael Potter, Vice Chair, Placerville Recreation and Parks Commission. With that said, you have my report and Mr. Potter's comments. We will open it for a discussion and hopefully take some action later.
So we need to cast our votes essentially, is that correct?
Ideally, I believe what we want to be able to do is take a nomination, and then the individual could either nominate someone or even nominate themselves. The person nominated would want to share a little bit about it, and then once we take those nominations, you can deliberate, ask questions, and go through that discussion process. And then once the nomination is made, one of the chair or one of the commissioners may make a motion, and then we'll take action.
Okay.
And I'm not nervously looking at Andre, but I'm sure he's done this a lot too. So even if I'm missing a step, I'm sure he'll give me a look.
Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to say, Tony?
That was very nice of Michael to nominate me.
So I was going to nominate Mr. Wendell as well.
Oh, you were?
So
Okay.
I don't know that Mr. Potter has a vote if he's not here, or if his
Not
comment
necessarily, that was
counts. I
just his
don't-
comment.
Okay. So I would nominate Mr. Wendell for chair. Do we need a
We would need a second.
second?
Yep.
I'll second that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and then
That's fine.
vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, there's not a big group of you.
Okay. So see none.
Oh, boy. All right.
So it passes.
Passes,
That's the chair,
okay.
yes.
And then we need to vote for vice chair.
Yes. We can either switch now and put Tony there, or we could vote for,
Oh, that's fine. Did you want to switch now? I'm fine with that.
You,
Are you comfortable taking over for the
yeah,
rest
unless
of
you
the
want to
meeting?
continue the rest of the meeting as you're on your last night.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, if you're comfortable, yeah,
Sure, but
yeah. So we'd switch. We don't switch seats, so just, he'd be chair,
Yeah, he'd just be-
right? Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that.
isn't there like a wand you have to hit me with, or?
Magic wand.
it used to be a hook.
There's a hook,
That's more to pull you off the stage.
like like
Captain Hook.
a choir sound behind me? All right, no, that's,
We
thank
could,
you.
if you want to take,
Yeah,
you
if
want
you're
to take
comfortable
the chair
switching
and let's
now.
do the next, it's good practice.
Yeah, I'll be a little rusty, but, well, thank you.
I do this all the time, I'm still rusty. You're
That was very nice of you guys to do that, thank you. I'm honored to do that. All right, then we move to 5.3 vice
No, we
chair.
got, yeah, vice chair, yes.
Vice chair.
Yes.
Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
What's your name?
Right, it's a hard decisions here.
I will nominate myself.
Okay. I would also like to nominate Lynn as well.
I'll second that.
Do we all need to vote?
Do you have
Oh, no, do we all vote?
Oh, yeah, do you have a suggestion?
Oh, no, I was gonna just.
You're gonna do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a consensus of 3 and 4? Mm-hmm. All right,
All in
Lynn,
favor?
you are vice chair
Ta-da.
of this Rec and Park Commission.
No hook for
Who
you.
was the first? Who made Lynn made,
Yes, she nominated herself.
and then Tony was.
I did, yes. Wonderful. Well, that's a good time. Well, then let's move to 5.4. Softball fees and new officials association contract, M. Lishman.
All right, thank you, Chair Wendell, and congratulations to Vice Chair Spencer, and Larissa, thank you for all the work you did as our chair over the past year or so, so thank you for everything you've done, and welcome, Mr. Pitchley. So anyways, had to get that stuff out of the way. So with that, our next item on the agenda is our Tonight is the topic of this is to support staff's recommendation to recommend to the city council a $4.20 per game increase in the adult softball field team registration fee for a 10-week season for a total fee of $776 per team, effective June 23rd of 2025. And also approving a 3-year agreement with the Greater Sacramento Softball Association, we also refer to them as GSSA, to provide officials for our adult softball games and to authorize our Director of Community Services to execute the same. So as you're all aware, minimum wage did increase January 1st. It went up 50 cents to $16.50 per hour. So that is one of the other reasons that leads to the $4.20 per game increased. The biggest cost to this is the softball portion of it, and just kind of a little bit of history. The Folsom Officials Association worked with the city for, I don't know for sure, I think I put 25 plus years, 20 plus years, and recently the gentleman who was running that league just decided to just totally retire, and he wanted to get out of it, and there just wasn't anybody to take over the association, so they kind of gave notice that said that they would no longer be able to do that. So we put a request for proposal out, and we did get a reasonable proposal back from the Greater Sacramento Softball Association, and we are confident that they are confident. We also have Carl Clark with GSSA in the audience, so thank you for coming up, Carl, and if we have any questions for him, he'll be happy to try to help us out there. So there really is not a whole lot difference with the contract, with the exception of, because of the location, they were the only association that put in a bid for this. There's not a whole lot of associations out there these days, but they are located down in Sacramento, I believe on the other side of Highway 80. And so one of the differences is the fee, the per game fee, I think went up like $1.40, but we have to pay a travel fee, the kind of the outlying agencies, Placerville, Auburn, some down the hill the other direction. We have to pay a $25 per night travel fee for the umpire. So that's a bit of an increase that we haven't had before. So basically, it's like $1.40 more per game with a $25, not per game, just a $25 show-up fee for the umpire for the assignment. So. So you'll see on page 2, on that rate page, it shows that there's we're proposing a 3-year contract because they know what their fees are over the next 3 years. So we will be coming back each year with projected cost increases and how it will affect it. So just what we approve on a fee tonight isn't necessarily going to be the fee for the next 3 years, but we do know what their fees will be. So there's on that page it shows what the per game costs are. And let's see, there was one typo on here. The next chart down, it says softball rate schedule comparison. The city of Folsom does not have a travel fee. That was supposed to say no travel fee. So when we're comparing, costs and fees, they might be a little bit less, but they also don't have that $25 travel fee. So, so with these cost increases, we are showing that we have additional expenses of about $3,166. And on the third page, you'll see that we are proposing to offset that by increasing the team fee of the $420 per game or $42 per season. If we increase that, that'll bring in a projected revenue of $3,192, which is $26 more than the projected increase. So with that fee increase, we propose that we will be covering our costs. So after all that, there's 3 options we could look at tonight. The first option, of course, the one that we recommend, is to approve the adult softball fee increase. The second option is do not increase in fees and ask the city council to absorb the cost in the general fund. And then the third option is to direct staff to take other action. So just as a reminder, tonight we are just seeking the direction, the recommendation from you guys to take this to city council for the final fee approval. So with that, I would like to turn it back over to the chair, and if you have any questions, or the vacant chair there, yeah. If you have any questions, comments, and then want to open it up to the public at some point, and we'll go from there.
I don't have any questions.
No, it seems fairly straightforward, yes. Oh, sorry. It seems very straightforward, and I don't think that sending it to the council to absorb would ever happen. So I think we have to look at the reality of the economic situation. And yes, go along with your recommendations.
I agree. Do you have?
Yeah, I don't see where you have a choice being so far away from Sacramento. I understand the travel fee. I do have a question. Are there any officials who work up in this area, between Folsom and here, that might be assigned to games? And if that's the case, does that impact the travel fee, or is that just it doesn't matter? The travel fee is going to be included each night?
Yeah, so you want me to go ahead and answer that now?
Yeah.
So, yes, there are some officials that the Greater Sacramento Softball Association will be absorbing from this area. There are some officials that do live up here, and the way that it does work is the travel fee gets paid regardless. So even if they're from up here, they will get the travel fee. Now the difference is if they get assigned to go down to El Dorado Hills, Folsom, Rancho Cordova, they won't get a travel fee when they go down to those games because they're not part of that outlying
Okay.
agency.
All right, so the deal is we're going to pay
Regardless.
it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then,
If somebody lives right next door to the park and they can walk over, they get the travel fee.
yeah. And I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. Matt, I'm sorry, I don't know what some of the other expenses are. So I know you always have to pay for the softballs. There's the scorekeeper fee. Is there like a internal service charge for for ball field maintenance or anything like that? I just don't know what some of the other expenses are.
Yeah, we have scorekeepers. We have, of course, materials and supplies, softballs, bases, different equipment that needs to be purchased over the years. We also have maintenance staff, to go out and drag the fields each night before the games. Of course, there's, electricity for the lights and water and just maintenance on the park and overhead office, office staff and supervisors. And so there's quite a bit that goes into this program. So.
And for a fee of, what's the fee for the team?
$776, and what that does is that includes basically nine weeks, and then the 10th week is playoffs, like to the top 4 teams.
Right. So per team, 15 to 18 guys per team, something like that. That's actually quite a deal.
Yeah,
No matter what, it's really for the entertainment they're getting. I'd say that's good. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm glad you're covering your costs.
Yeah, and then when you're looking at our price, if you look at attachment A, the second to the last page, notice that, like compared to Folsom and El Dorado Hills, they're only 7 weeks plus playoffs. We're 9 weeks plus playoffs. So we're more, but there's 2 more games too. So
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yeah. $40. Do we have any public comment?
you want to come?
You come up to the podium.
There we go. I'm Carl Clark. I'm one of the assigners for GSSA. Have been in the park and recreation profession much longer than these two gentlemen, and had the good pleasure to see them in a number of the workshops that I had the blessing to be able to put on in our park and recreation career. One of the things that we found over the last 20 years is we have to pay for our activities now, and this is one of the things that we see. I can tell you that your request for proposal that Matt put out with the city staff was one of the more complete and practical ones that was put out. There's nobody out there doing what we do. We are part of the area that goes all the way down to Lodi, all the way up to Lincoln, all the way, excuse me, all the way out to Davis and to Auburn, and now up here. We're taking on from Larry Boone's program, the Folsom group. We were working with them anyway, and some of the umpires that we already had were working up here also, and some of the umpires that are up here are choosing to have in the past years chosen to come down and work for us, and there were no travel fees, in any of those. We found about 6-7 years ago that we could not reliably staff remote locations with our umpires without having a travel incentive. We were having all kinds of problems, last-minute cancellations, last-minute traffic problems, and sometimes not very reliable people taking the assignments out in the outlying areas. Since we put that in, there's only been 3 occasions in 1 year that we've had no-show umpires. So we think that travel incentive in these outlying areas has really helped us. We have 8 of the agencies that are in our outlying areas, so that includes Galt, and see if I can get them all. Lodi, Georgetown, which I had the good pleasure of working 12 years in Georgetown on a part-time basis after I retired, Andre, like you did. And then Auburn has it, Lincoln has it, Woodland has it, and now you folks do. El Dorado Hills we looked at when we were looking to bring that contract on, and Folsom, and it did not merit putting on a travel incentive. We don't want to put them on indiscriminately. We want to put them on fairly. And we will certainly look at, as we assimilate some of the umpires that Larry had been using in just his association, we have a lot of those folks already registered with us and getting ready to sign through them. One of the things that we found with the 3 agencies, so just so you know, we think one of the benefits from our organization is in several of the organizations up here, especially Folsom and El Dorado Hills, they were assigning 1 umpire for the entire season on 1 field. Well, that means those teams see the same umpire every night. And familiar umpires don't breed content. They bring problems, because if I miss 1 call in just 1 game, then by the end of the season, I've missed 9 calls, and they remember those for me. So we work very, very hard on rotating our umpires as much as we can, give the priorities to the local people, so they have a little bit of advantage, but we won't let them take 1 field and just sit on that field for every game during the season. Matt was very aware of that, and he said, I think one of the advantages, unfortunately the cost is higher, but one of the advantages will be those rotated umpires. And we're finding that already. El Dorado Hills has already said, this is good. Some of the teams that were not complying with the local rules are now complying because the umpire is sitting there making them and not just saying, well, we'll let it go, we'll let it go. So we think we're making a positive impact in those 2 other agencies, and we have had this problem in other agencies also. We assign umpires for slow pitch for 21 different cities. We have 11 different nonprofit organizations that we provide fast pitch umpires for, and we have another 7 nonprofit organizations that we provide adult softball for. One of those happens to be up in Georgetown. They formed a nonprofit to run their whole softball program up there, the Georgetown Divide Recreation Association, which is an affiliate with GDRD up there. And they get member rates then because they are a member of one of the GSSA member agencies, like Placerville is. And we have also been doing a lot of training for the umpires that are going to be coming here already, because the central training and registration for umpires is all done through our office. So we work with the national office. Every one of the umpires that you have and have had, because they were USA certified umpires, are all nationally screened. It's not just the youth umpires that are nationally screened, but all of our umpires are nationally screened, and we work very hard at that, because they will not see the field, they will not see a practice field until they are certified and screened very, very well. Some have said the fingerprinting thing that is going on in screening, for some of you that might be involved in youth sports, there's a movement in California to fingerprint, live scan, all of the umpires in the area. However, their screening process with fingerprints doesn't catch all of the problems with umpires and with volunteers. We use a national screening program, and we're very, very proud of that because it catches people. We've got 3 people hanging up right now who have somewhere in their background that they've had something that the National Screening Organization will not clear them. It's up to them to take care of that. It's not up to us local folks to say, yeah, you can go ahead and come on in and umpire. We'd even let Matt come. No, I'm sorry, I'm kidding there. But it's not us locally. We want to make sure your sports are safe on the field and in and around those fields. So we have over 80 umpires that will be our pool of umpires for your organization. Of course, not all are going to show up here because they don't want to come to Placerville. We have some umpires coming from Marysville and Yuba City and come down into Davis and to Woodland. So they're getting travel fees from those, but when they come on farther down into Sacramento, they don't get travel fees either. It's a standard process that we found. We found it's cost inefficient to try and put mileage on every umpire from their home base to wherever field they're going, because then Matt and other sports supervisors cannot figure out how much it's really going to cost their programs, because it changes with every umpire if you put on variable mileage. So we have looked at that. We've been dealing with this for a long time. I've been assigning now for over, 13 years now for GSSA, and I also assigned for another all-sports organization for adult and youth sports. And we did provide some of the sports officials along the Highway 50 divide and that. After my partner passed away, I gave up all of the other sports stuff, and I just stayed with softball. So that gives you a little bit about us. We are faces. We're going to be on the phone a lot with Matt and Dennis as we fine-tune this program here at Placerville. I spent a number of years living up in Pollock Pines and also in Greenwood, so I have a lot of El Dorado County experience, and so I know this country kind of atmosphere and that we have here that is unique. You can't find it in Georgetown or here or Pollock Pines. You can't find it. People are just a little bit different, and I work hard at bringing that perspective to all of our guys, our umpires, our gals, because I think that they need to know where they're going. Isn't important to understand the people that they're going to work for. So I'd be glad to. I'm sorry I wasn't going to talk, but I just felt that the commission and the staff needs to be really comfortable. We're committed to come to Placerville. And I wish there were more assigners out there taking up part of it. We were really, really sorry to see Larry go. We worked very hard. In fact, he's going to be umpiring for us.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And obviously, at the educational purposes of this, we waived the 3-minute talking time. Plus, I don't have the clicker up here, I don't think either.
When, he's part of the contract too.
Oh, okay, okay. But, oh, no, don't even worry about it. It was awesome. Thank you for the information, and I don't think we have, do you guys have any questions with regards to that? Thank you.
I have one question for Matt. How many games last year did officials miss? Do you know? Because it was mentioned that it was officials had been missing games. I'm guessing that was everywhere, but I'm just wondering if you know if there were any that were missed here.
We had very few missed, I think.
Okay, so it wasn't really a problem for us, but hopefully there'll be 0 misses. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl. All right. Shall we move on to 5.5?
Do we want to
Oh, sorry.
get a motion?
They're
and a-
looking for direction.
Oh, for directions. Sorry. Yeah, I'm new at this. Shall we discuss this?
I think it all looks really straightforward, and, you know, these are the only ones that have come forward. I know for me, with my business, I charge travel fees if I have to travel for weddings and such, so it only makes sense that the umpires and such would be entitled to that as well, so, especially if they are traveling from further distances, so I think, personally, yeah, I would go with, let's see, I think it was on page 2, number 1.
Yeah, page
Approve.
3, I think.
Was it page 3?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have numbers on. Oh, yes, sorry. 3, approve the adult softball fee increase and authorize the Community Services Director to enter into an agreement with GSSA to provide officiating services for the city's adult softball league. So that would be my personal recommendation. I don't know if anyone has
I
any other
prefer
thoughts?
staff's number 1 choice as well.
Is that your motion? Or is that,
We're not doing motions tonight on this
Yeah, you
one?
do a motion and a second.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
we discussed before.
okay.
If everyone likes staff's recommendation, shall we make a motion
Yes.
to approve?
You can entertain Ms. Larissa's motion.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then I would motion, yeah. So then I would have motion to move forward with number 1 recommendation.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Option number 1. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Carl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. All right.
And very timely on that, I have a brief update in regards to Lions Park maintenance.
Perfect.
Did not write a report because I kind of wanted to keep the dialogue a little open. Don't have a lot of granular numbers for you, but just want to be very clear on the steps staff have taken. Mr. Lishman and myself and our key staff, our recreation supervisors and our part-time rec coordinator now have been diligently connecting with our softball group. There are multiple groups. There's individuals that host tournaments, there's a senior league they host regularly, and then our own internal softball league. As many of you know who've been around for a little bit, the quality of the fields and the safety level on our outfields has been a little contentious in regards to potholes and gophers and a lot of different things. Back in June of 2024, City Council had appointed around $187,500 for multiple things to be done at the park, at Lions Park specifically. 2 of those components total approximately $81,000. That is the drainage report in regards to the water runoff that kind of collects in the basin, and the second part of that was an upgraded irrigation system to help not only save us money, but irrigate effectively in the right areas. Over the last few months, as I've done some research, we've had to expand I decided to expand the study for the drainage to not just include the softball fields of Field 1 and Field 2, but also past the service road to include the pickleball courts as well. As we all know, we've had a tremendous amount of rain this year, and if you notice the service road, you can kind of, I'm not a geologist, but you can kind of see the runoff. That will most likely impact the $187,000 or the bottom line of that $81,000. We've also got numerous gophers, too many to count, and it feels a little Caddyshack-ish, but I mean, short of us drowning them out and filling the holes with water, we've worked with multiple pest control businesses to try and mitigate some of those things. We went as so far as to contact El Dorado. I believe they're called the Bird Sanctuary. Trying to get some hawks and owls, not literally, no joke. So we've been working with the softball community because they're very passionate and they're very zealous, and we want to sustain that. We want to sustain the approximately 60 to 70 teams that we have. Unfortunately, what we don't want to do is throw good money after bad money, and where in the past we've actually put around $25,000 into the field and into that maintenance, we haven't really sustained it or upkept it, if that makes any sense, whether it's through continual mitigation of pests and or just mowing and watering correctly. So we've got two costs out now. One was pretty significant, around $50,000 to repair both fields. Again, just a Band-Aid. What staff's been doing now has been working with some local businesses who are in the landscaping business, more specifically those individuals that had actually recently helped us at Rotary Park. So we're thinking that we can actually do some of this not just in-house with some volunteers, but with some expertise, some local expertise in regards to landscaping. What that's going to do is hopefully bring our costs down to about half, which is like approximately $25,000 or so. I wouldn't like to spend too much more, but really just kind of leveling it out and filling those holes to get us through the spring. Ideally, what we want to do is mitigate the pests between then and October and hopefully reseed in October. Some of those costs are still coming in. We may be able to get some certified volunteers, and I say that very poignantly. I love volunteers. I think they're amazing, but we also need volunteers who are experts. And for those of you who have been in town for a very long time, we have amazing residents who love to contribute, who love to volunteer, and I want tons of volunteers. But I'm also very persnickety in regards to the quality and the standard of our fields and how we're going to design it and how we're going to maintain it. So yes, we can definitely take volunteers, but we also want to know what type of expertise, professional scope that they have in understanding, so that when we're utilizing their services, it's for a particular set of skills that we need, right? So all of that said, over the last couple of months, we've met twice with the kind of main portion of the group just in the public and kind of asked some questions and started with, well, if we closed one field and kind of went back and forth. I say all of that to say this because there's a lot of information that's going out now. We have not made any decisions in regards to closing fields. So if you've heard that, we are not closing both fields. Ideally, we would like to mitigate the safety component to level it out when the weather holds, because we need about 10 days of dry weather before we get the machinery out there and guys kind of filling holes. That said, no decisions have been made. I can't make any promises that something will change once we get out there, but as right now, our status quo is to kind of Band-Aid, level out both fields, bring in some infield dirt, get some of our internal staff to kind of fix the infield and kind of get through that part. We are not moving our offices to Lions Park. That was another question I had received earlier. We may potentially, once we fully design and come up with an actual plan around what we're going to do with the park as a whole, with the drainage and the irrigation, I would potentially like to recommend that we take our maintenance yard out there, primarily to centralize some of our maintenance. It's our greatest park that we have. It's the largest grass field that we have. Our football league is out there. It's a pretty amazing thing. So kind of from a business perspective, if we're centralizing some maintenance, ideally it makes sense for them to not have to drive all the way back to the courtyard, get a piece and drive all the way back. It's just ideal. It would be an ideal situation. The other component to that is, and I want to be very, very clear on this, the residents that are passionate about our softball fields. Unfortunately, a high percentage of them do not live within the city of Placerville, right? I'm saying less than 1% of all of the hundreds of people that play softball, which kind of puts us in a little bit of a predicament, primarily because we've got deferred maintenance from City Park downtown to, Lumsden Park, where all of I'd say the average age of our playgrounds are like 20 years. And I say this publicly, online, and to the commission. If we were able to look at all of those things, unfortunately, the softball field would not be a top priority. We've got aquatic center issues that we want to be able to deal with the plaster and the pool. There are numerous amounts of things. I do not say this that I don't want to fix the fields, but I will say this, that there are competing priorities, and if everything is important, nothing is. And so we need to start to set some priorities around those pieces. I should have a little bit more of an understanding on where we go once the rain starts to slow down and we get a little bit of a drier field over the next 10 days, knock on wood. That way we can meet with some of our volunteers and more specifically our local contractor to see what we can do to start that Band-Aid. All of that said, we probably have around an estimated remainder of the 187,000. It would be tough to say for me to give you that because I'm not sure increasing REY's scope and widening their study, I'm not sure what that's going to do to their bottom line. I do have a meeting with them set up for later this week. Once I find out more information, I'll definitely let everybody know and hopefully bring something back next month. But I wanted to be clear about a couple of those things. We have not made a decision to close any of the fields. We are making steps and strides to fiscally be responsible to fix those fields, both short-term and long-term. And then at the same time, we're still trying to take a look at what we're going to do with the irrigation and the drainage study. I know that's a really long kind of dissertation about what's going on, but I'm also available for questions if you have any. I just want to be clear that we have been taking steps to work with the community as close as possible. And then an added component to that, once we're able to kind of finalize the framework for the plan, I would like to take a look at a master plan specifically for that park and then start to outreach and more intently work with the community members that live directly next to the park as well, because it's not just the softball field, it's our sports field for youth sports, it's a pickleball court, it's tennis courts, it's playgrounds, it's numerous, it's, you know, we've got the Frisbee golf, so there's a lot of amenities there, and we want to capitalize on that. So thank you for listening to my speech, I appreciate it. Questions if you have any?
That was 5.5, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I actually have one little question. Every time we talk about the fields, especially that field, you talk about the Gophers. Okay, so it seems to me that before you can fix the turf, you've got to address the underlying cause of where the holes are coming from, and that's the Gopher issue. So you said something about hawks, I don't know. I just really wonder if there's any point in trying to fix something until you get rid of the cause that has the problem. And so I really would like to address that at some point, and you address that, and maybe there isn't a way to get rid of them, or maybe there is. But until you get rid of the Gophers, there's going to be holes all the time, every year. And it'll just be more money down the drain, more money spent to fix this, fix that. So you got to get rid of those guys first. So what's the plan, Stan?
Well, we made signs for the Gophers to tell them not to come on the field anymore. Hopefully that'll help.
Good idea.
Hopefully that'll help. So there are numerous amounts of things in regards to different, I'd say, because it really sounds harsh, but there are a lot of mitigating measures that we can in regards to, you know, putting different chemicals in and kind of, I'm just going to say it, you know, either gassing them or putting certain things out there. We've tried different things, and there are different regulations that we need to follow that we work with our partners on.
Of course.
There are other more costly options in regards to perhaps a layered mesh, which we had kind of talked about. But again, with the vast size of the outfield, at one point you'd almost have to pool the entire component to keep them out, not just from the inside and underneath, but from the sides as well. So there has been some discussion in regards to potentially putting down a mesh around the outfield portion and then cleaning up the inside. There was a conversation around turf potentially, but that would be $500,000 just for the material, let alone the install. And to be quite honest with you, I've worked with AstroTurf in the past. You're pretty much spending just as much water on it as well, just trying to rake it and man hours and everything to put into it. The other piece is probably a little more long-term, but when we had talked to the Bird Society or the sanctuary, one idea was to potentially put an owl nesting box in the area and have the experts tell us where to kind of put it. And ideally, what we would want to do is we'd want the experts not to just tell us where to put it, because it can't be near the road or it can't be near, the softball field. It's for the babies. And so we want them to come out to tell us where to put it. We'd like to work with the softball community to maybe help us build it. It's like $100 a box, and it can help us build a couple of them. It's a long-term fix, right, to help us kind of mitigate some of those things. And then on top of it, if I'm being quite frank with you, a lot of it just has to come with regular man hours in regards to consistency when we're mowing and we're taking care of the fields on a regular basis, right? And so we've got 7 parks, X amount of staff. We need to be a little bit more diligent with not only our daily and our weekly, but every time we're going through it, we've got to address the problem initially, right from the get-go. And I don't think we've done a good enough job with some of those pieces. Next year, and looking at some of our budget, I'd like to potentially entertain the conversation around contracting out some of those landscaping duties in regards to at least the irrigation and the mowing of the outfield. That way we have someone consistently not just watching for pests, but quality control in regards to those holes and those divots. And that's the one piece. If we want to fix it long-term, we need to be diligent and rectify it in the moment. And unfortunately, what's happened is over time, it's just kind of compounded, right? One gopher will move in. I'm not a gopher expert, but if you're not fixing it in the moment, it makes it a lot harder for us to come back later, years or even weeks later, and say, hey, by the way, let's go ahead and take care of these dozen gophers. We should have taken care of the 3 that we found when we were mowing on Tuesday, if that makes any sense. And I think when we are a little more astute to it, then we definitely want to be able to take care of it in the moment. I will also add this, that resources are very, very limited, and I mentioned this a little later in my other report, we will have to take a look at our fees. We'll have to take a look at how much individuals or organizations are paying to utilize the field for their softball tournaments. Right now, I believe, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's like $200. I mean, it's very minimal in regards to what we're charging. And unfortunately, where we are right now with minimum wage and all the other added costs, we do not have it built into that component for the fees to be able to put that money directly back into it, if that makes any sense. So taking a look at our fees, taking a look at our staff remodels, and taking a look at addressing it in the moment is kind of where we are right now. The hard part is, to your point, Commissioner Spencer, is how do you mitigate the pest, right, the pest issue with the gophers, but then at the same time not lose the momentum of softball without us closing the fields down. And that's kind of the equilibrium and kind of balance we're facing right now. My fear is, if we close the field, will we get those teams back? Unfortunately, and I say this as a professional, softball in the heyday was 200 teams. Right now, we're happy to get 60 to 70. And if I close down one field or if I close down 2 fields, I don't want our participation to go elsewhere, right? And so that's the kind of happy medium that I'm trying to find. Like, can I get it to a place where it's safe enough where no one's going to sprain an ankle, but then at the same time look for like a medium fix right around October to kind of seed it, and then work with some of our volunteers, our staff, and maybe some contractors to kind of mitigate some of those issues. I don't know if that's an answer
and
why,
that,
but
you mentioned another point, I'm sorry, did you? No. Okay. There was another, Matt, you've mentioned many times that softball is going down in popularity. Do we have the same number of teams signed up this season as last?
We actually haven't started taking signups yet.
Oh,
We're getting
okay.
ready to do that here real soon. So, but I think the last, I think we've had about 35 teams a season or something like that, average over the last couple of years. So it's, I mean, back in the heyday, we had 100 teams a season,
Right, that seems to be
but now it's
back there.
30-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
But even before COVID, we probably had, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I want to say we probably had like 70-ish teams per season, 60, something, and now we're around 34, 35.
And you would think that we're far enough away from COVID that it should have started increasing? participation, number of teams?
Yeah, or unfortunately during that time, people
Just stop
maybe
playing?
found other hobbies and started doing
Got
other
it. Okay,
things. And
okay.
and I think one of the other things is we're not seeing a lot of the younger crowd come up and get into adult sports these days. Not like it used to. It seems like with today's maybe technology and the kids are just doing different things, and we're just not getting those younger teams coming in. It's the same teams that just keep coming back year after year after year, and so it's just not a lot of youth.
One of the, and this is, I'll just say this briefly, I'm sorry. I went to that convention down in, yeah, the tourism convention. And one of the very interesting things that was mentioned, there was a guest speaker, and the section was titled Boomers to Gen Z, or Gen Z to Boomers, something like that. And one of the points that he made was that if you do not pay attention to what the generations want to do, you're going to lose out on participation. And there was one thing that I thought was really interesting. The guy that did the presentation is like a focus group. That's what he does. He does focus groups. And what he said was that when he asked this group of young people what it was that drew them up to our area, it wasn't Goldbug Park, which everybody seems to think is the biggest draw here. It was actually Apple Hill and wineries and tour, that sort of thing. So what I'm saying is that maybe at some point, take a look at the lost leaders of the department and what is actually drawing people to Parks and Rec and what isn't. And spend our money and our time on activities that actually are of interest to a larger population. Just a thought. I'm done.
Well said. Any other questions?
So you mentioned that only 1% of the participants are within the city limits? So do we have an idea?
A little less than 1%.
A little less,
I think
okay.
the last time we counted, and I can find the numbers if people want it, like 55.
Right. Okay, thank you. I guess some of these questions might be questions I should ask or should have asked before, but what's our sphere of influence as a department or as a city? Do you know what I mean by that? Like how, I know that there's only 10,000 people or so in our city limits, but people, a couple miles away will say they live in Placerville, and we know that's not inside the city limits. So do you know if there's a designated or?
We quantified it pretty specifically, especially for the aquatic center, which I'll go into within my next report. But from my understanding, when we did the number specifically for softball, most of them live not just within the city of Placerville, and we'd have to go back and dig a little bit deeper because we don't track that long term. But they, Sacramento, Folsom, they're definitely from outside the city.
Right, okay. And I've got a friend whose kids come and play up here, and they're down in Shingle Springs. So I know that people are going to come here because we've got the softball fields, and where's the next closest facility? Would it be El Dorado Hills or Cameron Park?
Yeah, I don't know that Cameron Park has any leagues anymore these days, so I think El Dorado Hills is the next closest.
Okay.
El Dorado Hills and Folsom is.
Right. So when you've got the facility, you're going to probably be a draw, and then is there a non-resident fee for anybody? There is none?
No.
Okay. All right.
Those are some of the things that we need to take a look at when we look at the fee schedule as a whole. The other component, and I run the risk of people disagreeing when I say this, but when you look at different ordinances, especially in regards to public parks, if I'm being completely frank, and for the record, Our park is remote. We do not have a very stringent alcohol policy. Other park districts that do have softball on a regular basis, Fulton El Camino, City of Sacramento, Rio Linda, very, very stringent, no drinking type of policies. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of those measures here, if any. And so I think some of those components definitely draw different interests up this way. Probably the best way for me to say it.
Okay, so alcohol is permitted in the park?
It is permitted not on the field, but in the park.
In the park, okay.
But they are not allowed to consume alcohol while they are playing in their game.
Oh, and I'm sure they don't.
Yes, absolutely
So
not.
we don't really have I wouldn't say a
Right.
loose we actually have a strict alcohol policy for the
For the players, but
players
not for, yeah. Mm-hmm.
themselves, but it does lead to some of our problems out there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and if we don't have any other questions, I don't think we need to open this to public comment, do we? Or, I would love to have you come up, if it's okay with the
We will.
commissioners. But we'll do 3 minutes, though.
Alcohol in the parks and around the fields are a major problem of all of our adult softball sites. And there's only a few of the cities that are really able to be stringent upon them. Some of them say they are, they have the rules, but they're not enforced. And that is one of our problems of getting umpires to continue to umpire, because they're dealing with a lot of alcohol around the parks, and therefore the attitudes of players when they get called out and they're a little tipsy and don't have good judgment, they go after the umpire. And some of the cities have backed off of the number of staff members they have at the fields to help support the umpires. So we've had a hard time with this, but it's a problem in every park, on every field that we deal with. What do people want? They want to be able to drink with their activities, kind of like Apple Hill. A lot of the activities in Apple Hill, there's a lot of alcohol beverage in these special events. So hopefully that's my 3 minutes.
Thank you, Carl. I'll see you at the Liars Bench. All right, shall we move to 5.6?
5.6 is a very basic overview, just a verbal presentation in regards to what our department's been up to. I put some notes up there, and I'll make it available for the public if they're interested. Just a quick update. CAL FIRE fuel reduction, we've been working with them. They've actually been amazing and gracious and provided about 14 days, is that right, Matt? 14 days of work up at Goldbug to work on fuel reduction. These are, they're working on certification, they're doing a lot of training, and huge shout out to Pat, who's one of our maintenance guys up there, who's been working with them very, very closely. And we'll put together a little thank you for them and all their hard work out there. And the same goes with Growlersburg. We've been using them on our creek and parks and trails. You might have seen them out there on the trail kind of taking down some of the dead trees that we have out there as well. Going back to some of the quantification Commissioner Pitchley mentioned a little bit earlier, some of our recreation data, and I'll present this to City Council during our mid-year review. For Goldbug Park, for example, between July and December, served about 6,424 individual tours within those months. For our swim from July to December total, from lap swimmers to facility rentals, around 3,919 participation. Overall, taking into account Goldbug, aquatics, our special interest classes, adult sports, youth basketball, and some of our reservations in regards to either the gazebo or the banner over Main, around 12,300 that we've been able to serve. A lot of this data is tracked through our ActiveNet system or our registration system, whether it has to do with a rental or other pieces. But those are the kinds of information I think it's advantageous of us to start to track a little more closely, and more specifically in regards to like youth basketball, where our total for youth basketball was around 717 participants. Actually, 145 of those are in partnership with Georgetown. And so 145 of them come to play with us, and so that kind of enhances the program a little bit, right, in regards to our participation numbers. I have a lot of these that are available, but all of that said, I think definitely want to take a look at some of the data that we have in there, both short and long term, in regards to our participation trends and numbers, more specifically like adult sports and pickleball versus softball. Pickleball is on the uprise. You know, we have a lot of interest without any marketing. And so, like you were saying earlier, Ms. Lynn, are there other ways that we could target our investment for better return, right? And taking a look at what our loss leaders are and pivot. And our staff are very, very creative around a couple of those things. Going back to some of the lists that I wanted to update you on, the county has come into a little bit of a shortfall, I'm sure you've noticed, around their funding, and they've been very supportive of our aquatics facility over the last number of years, from stemming back as far as I read it, like 2013, where they were contributing an X amount of funds. I believe it was around $20,000 a year to help us keep it open, primarily because we realize, and they do as well, 76% of the individuals that use our aquatics facility are not specifically City of Placerville residents. So based on that quantification, we provide them numbers in regards to the residents of the county that we serve, because it isn't just a staple facility in the city, it's a staple facility within the county. And so I was able to kind of attend their meeting, and I encourage you, if you haven't had a chance, to please watch the county meeting in regards to their budget process. But because they are looking at their other discretionary funds, meaning not their essential services and some of those other pieces, but they're looking at how much they're investing in their discretionary funds into other services. And our aquatic center did come up for discussion. It has been something that they've been talking about. And during our last city council meeting, I submitted a staff report, and the city council approved requesting a little over $115,000, because that's really what we need. We need help with that maintenance to help us sustain those important life-saving services. I cannot say it enough, how important swim lessons are, especially in our area around the ponds and the lakes and the rivers that we live. It is very, very important. And so I encourage you to take a look at some of those things in regards to the county and how they could potentially, if they can, help us out with funding. I'm not trying to compete for health and safety or money from police or fire. I'm saying that this is also an essential service, and I want us to kind of hold that true. A quick update in regards to our staffing levels and our revised office hours. We have been running a little short, and so we've closed for lunch between the hours of 12 and 1, Monday through Thursday. And on Fridays, we're available, staff are available by appointment. And so we're doing our best to stay as available as we can, but understanding that we're trying to put our resources in the right area, right? So Monday through Thursday, and then we close for lunch from 12 to 1, and then we are available on Fridays for appointment only. The downtown restroom renovation started today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to take a look and drive through downtown, but the fences are up. Had a chance to meet with the contractor today, do some fine tuning on kind of, you know, what colors do we want and where we want to go from there. I don't want to say too much, because we're really just trying to move this through as fast as we can, as best as we can. We're not trying to cut corners. We're just trying to do it effectively and efficiently. More notification will go out as that starts to progress, primarily because of the weather. We hope we can keep traction with some of those pieces. We do have 2 part-timers that are kind of helping us out. Actually, we had to split it up a little bit. So we have about 3 new part-timers. So if you see them in the office, please introduce yourself. We have Miss Alex, who was a pool manager during the summer. She's helping us with the front counter. Miss Sarah, who's going to be helping with some recreation programs. And then Miss Wendy, who's been on staff for a little bit. We kind of gave her some extra hours and kind of tried to split the load up a little bit. And for those of you who've been in the recreation field for a long time, it is not uncommon for us to be able to utilize as many of the resources internally as we have. If we have to pivot and use pool managers as office staff, the best we can do to keep our offices open, that's what we're doing. So I encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself to them, they're doing a fantastic job. Please do so. We have the ADA access pickleball component going in. Once the weather starts to die down here in hopefully the next couple of weeks, we need to connect the path from the playground across the bridge to the entrance of the pickleball court. So what we're going to try and do is work with the local fence company and our maintenance staff to allow entrance and use of the pickleball court from the tennis court side. It's the same key, and I'm saying that publicly, it's the same key that gets you into the pickleball, it'll get you into the tennis courts, and we're gonna try to open up the center portion so you can still enter the pickleball side from the tennis court side while we're doing work and not cutting, and we're gonna close that entrance part. We'll put up notifications and we'll let all of the individuals know up there. One very important piece, and I'm very proud to say that Matt has done an exceptional job over the last few months that I've been here, balancing multiple things. Yes, recreation and a lot of different stuff, but he's become a huge support to me. More specifically, he's going to be taking on the special events permitting portion to make sure that we're issuing permits timely, to make sure that we're budgeting it timely, we're creating the right fees. And so I want to kind of let you guys know that, because I know Julie was kind of managing that for a little bit, but we've since transitioned that to Matt, and both of us are kind of working very closely on those pieces. At the next city council meeting next week, we'll go ahead and present the full street closures that meet with those regulations for city council's approval. Real quick, a couple other things. Adopt a Trail program that was presented at city council last week. We'll be working directly with a lot of the stakeholders, the El Dorado Trail president and a few local stakeholders, to build up that framework a little bit. The idea is once we get the outline together and get more of the understanding from the experts, we're going to open it up to the public. And once we put together the formal plan, we'll bring it back here for you guys, and then we can kind of talk it through together and kind of see where we are with that. Very similar to the Adopt a Highway, but we also want to be able to provide them with, more specifically, materials and equipment, right? And so we can kind of work with them on what kind of equipment and fingerprinting and all that other stuff. Matt was awesome this past weekend again, and I know I'm talking about him a lot, but we had one of our renters share with us some of the funding that they collect within their organization, and they donated an X amount of dollars to our youth fund. Do you remember?
729-ish.
It was pretty awesome. We're very, very thankful to them for those pieces. And then 4 other, actually it's a lot more. We have the Nexus study that's coming up that has to do with our impact fees. We'll have to kind of look at where our master plan is and take a look at some of our services. But on the tail of that, one thing that we are going to be doing that I'm going to start to spearhead probably within the next year is a look at our master plan for the entire parks and recreation and parks. It was last updated in 2017. I think we're at that point right now where I would like to take a look at it, not just with the commissioners, but within the community as well. Orchard Hill, Lumsden, I really want to take a look at not just our programs, but all of it, and really come up with a strategic plan on how we can serve our community better. And I'm planting the seed now to let you know that it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of information gathering and a lot of conversations. But I believe if it's done right with us as a team, we're going to get those. What are your interests? Are we spending money in the right place? Is this really one? Yes, we have softball, but we've also got dog parks, and we've got, a bunch of different competing priorities. And I think we need to get together and on the same page and really start to strategically outline where are we going to get the best return for our investment and what our priorities are, if that makes any sense. And a lot of surveys, a lot of different things. And then really quick, we have a Rise and Shine event. We have 3 events coming up over the next few months. Rise and Shine event that Matt is leading up, a community cleanup day, again, that Matt is leading up. And I think a fishing derby. Are you doing the fishing derby?
Did you have those dates, Mr. D?
No, I don't. That's why I'm turning to you.
So the fishing derby will be on April 5th at Lumsden Park from 9 to 11. It's for kids up through 8th grade, so preschool through 8th grade. It's all free. Just bring your fishing gear and tackle, and it's a good time. The Rise and Shine is scheduled for April 26th, so if you want to come out and volunteer in the community and help clean up some of the parks, that's on April 26th in the morning. And then the Community Cleanup Day is tentatively scheduled for June 7th. We don't have that set in stone yet, but it looks like it's probably going to be on June 7th, most likely still at the Mosquito Park and Ride.
I strongly encourage you to pencil it in, and we would love to see you guys out there for those events. That's my update. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Actually, how are you going to do this? I'm going to call it a focus group. How are you going to come up with, when you go out to the community and you make this survey, how are you going to do it? What avenues are you going to take?
In regards to like the master plan component?
No. When, like you were saying, yes, the master plan, how to move forward, what we want to do, how the recreation department can better serve. How are you going to gather that information?
I don't know
We've
if this
talked
answers.
about this a couple of times.
Yeah, I think, and this is just my personal opinion since coming to since joining the team. I genuinely believe that we're very tactile and very analog, and we like paper, and I don't mind it at all either. So I think it's going to be a combination of both digital and paper in regards to the data. I also think that we need to take a lot of grassroots steps in regards to community meetings and being consistent with those community meetings, either myself, President, the superintendent, or commissioner. I think our community thrives well when it's face-to-face, right? You take the good with the bad, and in my personal opinion, sometimes the best results of a survey are the bad comments, because those are where you're going to get probably the most traction. Right, and so I think it's going to be a combination of those things, and we've made certain steps over the last 6 months. For example, our rec guide is now printed. We don't mail them out anymore. We're not printing thousands and thousands of them, but we do have them available in hard copy for individuals who like those pieces. And then sometimes it's just a lot of visiting local organizations, Lions Club and Boys and Girls Club, like just being out in the community more, I think, and connecting with the organization. And we have a lot of volunteers in our town, and I'm not saying it's making it easy, but it does kind of make it a little easier because people want to give you information, and I think they're very engaged, right? So I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure if that's what you're...
No, it does. Last couple of times, well, I don't know when it was, I suggested to you that maybe you would want to do an article or two in the Democrat to not only let the community know that that's what we're looking for, but also to continually do an update. This is where we're headed. This is what we'd like to know from you. I just think it's an underutilized opportunity for you particularly, and Matt too, if he wants to chime in as well. But I know a lot of people get it. I get it online. I glance through it, and sometimes there's something that piques my interest, and I would think that would be a vehicle for you.
Absolutely, that's a great idea. Yeah.
I just sent a press release to them today.
I think it's good. Press release to Democrat. I think there's multiple opportunities for us to be able to send out more information like that. Absolutely.
Water bills for the city, you can put in an insert, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
All right.
All right.
Well, that was great. And I take it the applicants for the events should direct their questions towards you, Matt, if anybody has any questions until the, but next week, right? It's going to be on the agenda. So they should come and make comments.
I will say this, and Matt's amazing. I went through it, I got here in August, right? It's March. So everything I've done from August to March, I'm trying to feed him in like 3 days. So we also have to be gracious with his bandwidth as well. He learns fast. He's a great guy, but it's a dual. We're working together.
Absolutely. If you need any help, just let us know.
I got one more announcement. We did also receive notice from the Marshall Foundation for Community Health that we got our annual lap swim grant. So the lap swim grant, so we got approved for that for this year. So we haven't got the check yet, but I got notified that we got awarded it. So that's exciting news. So
How much is it?
I think it's $3,600.
Great.
Any other questions? Now's your chance. Some dialogue.
Shall we, our next meeting is going to be the day after Easter, so hopefully everyone is going to be full of eggs. Yeah.
Bought at your store?
Bought at my store, yeah. All right, I make a motion to adjourn. I don't know if I have to do that, but shall we adjourn?
It works for me.
Hey, I think it was a good time. Everybody drive safely.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for nominating.
Thank
me.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Larissa.
Well, I did a second on that one, so.
Yep.
Oh,
I
sure.
got that.
Oh, perfect. All right, and thank you for your service, Larissa, for the last year. It was fun doing that. And good night, everybody.